Well, last time we talked to you, we talked about Mr. Ron Paul, and you learned some interesting things. Hopefully, you tried a little trick and put his name and wrote on a piece of paper.
Oh, will you get off of that? Come on.
Anyway, so today we're talking about a new topic. Today we're going to talk about
Now, hold on.
Barack Obama.
I gave him a hard time about that, but to be fair, I was the one that noticed it and said, hey, what does that look like to you?
That's true.
Okay.
That's true. He did.
Barack.
But I get to, when I think something's funny, I kind of do on it a little bit. Anyway, so we're on to Barack Obama, senator from Illinois state. He was a state senator and congressperson in the state of Illinois, and also he is a professor, or was a professor of law dealing with civil rights, which I think is a very respectable thing. And
his wife has a thing for Mitt Romney.
And I don't think that, but
no,
I remember the whole discussion they had. Right.
There's a clip where they interviewed all the presidents, or the presidential candidates' wives.
And so it wasn't all of them. It was like five.
Yeah, 5 or 6 of them. And there was a joke: Mitt Romney's wife and Barack Obama, and they were saying something about, and they were joking about they had the names mixed up with who was married to who, and how Michelle Obama might be going home with the wrong guy. Michelle gave this look like,
he's trying to. It was entertaining.
Okay, go back.
Okay, so Barack Obama is is running for president on the Democratic side, and he like most of the Democratic field are first time, big time experiences for either party, for either large political party. We've got on the Democratic side, you have a Hispanic and Bill Richardson. You have Barack Obama, the first African American that has a shot of winning. You've got Hillary Clinton, the first female. You've got John Edwards, the first white. I mean, never mind, not first white guy from South Carolina, but
the first rich white Democrat.
Wait a second, yeah. But
you sure he's not Republican?
I'm pretty sure he's.
Okay.
Although he and Huckabee are a little have the same populist message, they're very similar. But anyway, back to Barack Obama. Barack Obama came on the scene in 2004, and he did the keynote speak for the Democratic Party at their convention. And my wife and I were watching that together. And my wife,
that's so sweet.
That's so sweet. But we noted then that we're looking at a future president. Whatever sort of politics you're on, we had felt then, as we do now, that he has the potential of becoming a president.
Okay, here's I'll give Barack this. Barack has a lot of charisma, and he's when he talks, it's like, wow, this guy's really really interesting. He's easy to listen to. He's fun to listen to. The only thing I don't like about him is on his website, all of his ideas are there. And you can go and read about healthcare and everything, and they're actually pretty good, for the most part. But whenever he's talking and giving his speeches, he talks and talks and talks and makes you feel great, but he really doesn't focus much on issues and things like that. He uses very ambiguous terms like change and so on, But, and so then people go after him and say, well, all you ever do is talk about change. You don't actually ever talk about actually doing anything, which is true. That's what he talks about. But on his website and everything, you can see everything he's got. He says, my healthcare plan is this. I want to do this with foreign policy. I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to do this. And in the debates, he's specific. He's specific.
But you see, when you're giving a speech, I mean, I've given speeches in my time, and you don't get into specifics because people don't want to hear that. I mean, it's like going.
Well,
no.
Some people do.
Some people do, but the masses don't. The masses, what they want is a rah-rah, shish boom bob kind of thing, like you're back in high school.
So a pep rally.
A prep rally, essentially. But that's why we have debates. Debates are there so you can get down to the key issues, and we have something now that we didn't used to have, which is the websites and the blogs where the candidates like Barack can put his opinion down. It's interesting to note that President Bush in 2000 didn't really talk about ideas either. He would get like a phrase and he would just say it over and over and over again until it got into your mind. That's how he got elected. He really didn't talk about
Giuliani.
No, we're 9/11. No, we're talking about Bush era.
Oh, okay. Which phrase did he use over and over and over?
Oh, whoa. Oh, gosh. 2000's 8 years later.
The only thing I remember from Bush was a humble foreign policy. We're not going to go in there and be the world's police.
Right. Well, I remember I'll go back to you on our next blog on that because I have to think about it.
Well, George Bush is, we
never
even tested his name.
No, we didn't. But he didn't. We
might have to talk about George Bush sooner than we think.
We might. It's true. But the point was that he was more of of the inspirational speaker. We didn't know much about him. And then you went to his website. It was almost like you read his speeches on his website. That was what his platform is. Well, unlike that, Barack actually has a platform and has points of view, whether you agree with it or not. He actually inspires people. And the great thing that people say about Barack Obama is, and I wasn't alive for this, so I don't know anything about JFK, about his personality in person, or RFK, his brother Robert, or even Martin Luther King, but I do know that the older generation that I've talked to, even on the Republican side and conservative independents, have told me that his speeches and the way he talks reminds them a lot of JFK, RFK, and Martin Luther King.
So you're saying he's going to be assassinated very soon?
I hope I don't want him to be assassinated. I'm not
every
saying
single
that.
person you mentioned,
Right, they were all assassinated.
They were all good people, good orators, had good ideas.
But
especially MLK, I'll put him above the others.
Right, but they were all great speakers, and they were also not just great giving speeches. They were inspirational, and they could take people from either side of an opinion.
You know the lady that made Hillary cry, quote unquote. I mean, Hillary didn't really cry, but the lady that asked the question and Hillary got soft.
Right.
She actually ended up voting for Barack Obama, and now I know this is true, but the quote was that. So, anyways, like I was saying, the quote from that lady was that she saw Barack speak, and he made her cry. And that's really sweet and cute. I don't know if that sounds too good to be true, as far as Hillary crying versus Barack making the other person cry.
The reality
I do think it gives a good point that Barack's speeches are typical, and Barack is a better speaker than Hillary.
Well, and if you're a Democrat and you're towards that side, there is something to be said about the crowds that come out for him, and the Republicans and the Independents that are donating to his campaign, and have come out in both Iowa and in New Hampshire. Because in Iowa, where he won, he only won by 1% of the Democratic vote. 1%. More than Hillary Clinton had 1% less, in Iowa than Barack Obama did. So Barack Obama beat Hillary by 1% of those who were already registered Democrats. Okay, he won Iowa because he got the independents to vote for him.
No. Well, hold on, because I watched the caucus on C-SPAN, the Democratic caucus. I watched it live on C-SPAN. It was. Okay, I thought it was very interesing, but most people would probably
right. Well, that's
okay.
But
But anyway,
we like. But
when they on the one, because they only showed one of the counties, and what happened is in the caucus in Iowa, they all have to be in 50% groups, right?
Right.
So what happened is everybody was in their 50%. Edwards had, and you have to have a 50% majority, otherwise the people in that group
for that state
have to leave,
right,
and go to the other part, and it's for each county in Iowa. And so what happened was Hillary had her 50%, Edwards had his 15%, and Barack had his 15%. But Richardson didn't have 15%, Dodge didn't have 50%, Biden, and so on and so forth. And so what happened is those people had to go someplace else. And those people invariably almost always would go to Barack Obama. So he won Iowa partly because of his message, obviously, but partly because
of the way the caucus,
the way the caucus works.
Right.
That's why Bill Richardson only got like 1.7% or something.
Or why Dodd got 0 and Biden got like
low number.
Right.
And that's why Ron Paul on the Republican side got 10% or something like that, because on the Republican side, they just vote their conscience and they're done. The Democratic side,
they did these polls. These polling during this time. Well, I like the Democrat better because it is more fun. But back to it. But they did the polling, and out of the registered Democrats, he only beat Hillary Clinton by 1%. The rest of his votes came from the unaffiliated or independent registered voters. And then in New Hampshire, even though it was close, he got beat by 10-15% percentage points over registered Democrats to Hillary. What kept him involved was those independent voters. And if you're a Democrat and you're looking at the most electability and the best chance of getting elected, he would be the person that you'd want. Now, I'm not saying he's the most electable, but he's the one who's bringing in the independents, and he's the one where who's showing
cross party lines a heck of a lot better than Edwards or Hillary can.
Right, and I'm not, you can choose who you think is the best, but if you're looking just at statistics of what is being done, he's the one that will bring about the bipartisanship voting that the Democrats need to get elected.
All right, done.